my name is Princess from Bulles De Princesse. That's everybody calls me like that. Sorry, but I've been into the business, in the champagne business for, let's say, for 5 years, and this bar has been open for almost 2 years now. So I wanted to bring my passion for champagne, not only from buying and selling, to the people.
You've got a huge selection of champagne here.
Yeah.
How many actually do you have?
Well, this is changing all the time, but for the moment I'm working, well, let's say with 25 champagne growers, small ones, and that's good for, let's say, some 130 different champagnes.
When people come here, there are lots of big brands in champagne that we all know. Everybody knows about them: Chandon, Berkeley, Coventry, etc. What do you think are the ones that are the most common in people's minds at the moment? Because it's a fashion as well, champagne.
Yes, but most people, actually, to be honest, don't know very much about champagne. So what they know is what the brands that are the common brands, well, sold in the supermarkets, and that always rings a bell to people. So they're really a little bit from a distance saying, well, that's a small champagne grower, so will it be good? So the trend is really that people, in fact, don't know very much about champagne.
Do you think that there's a great scope for education? Because there is this expression in the trade, marketing in a bottle.
Yeah, that's what I say as well.
And people will come in with preconceptions, and they will have certain brands in the front of their mind, particularly if they watch Absolutely Fabulous, for example. They'll come in for a Bollinger. How easy is it to steer them away from those big brands?
It's just you have to, if for instance they're into those big ones, not Moet Chandon, Rue Tradition, but the big ones from, as you mentioned, just listen to what they appreciate in that champagne, and then you can suggest them something that is quite similar, and you can convince them with the price.
Do you ever get asked to advise on what champagne to have with a particular type of food?
Well, most champagnes can accompany a meal. You can start with it with your evening with as an appetizer, but most champagnes like the Meunier, the Pinot Noir, and the ones elevated in oak barrel can easily, and the millésimes as well, can easily accompany a meal. And then it's really difficult to just have that as to start your evening with. It's not a champagne, an easygoing champagne. These are more complex champagnes, and there are quite some differences in that.
Well, I think that since we're here, what we should do is maybe try a glass of champagne. So
Yes.
I'm just going to make this happen very quickly, simply by snapping my fingers.
Yeah.
I can make anything happen.
Do you?
Oh, and just like magic, as I said, here we are. So, Princess,
Yes.
tell me about this wine you have here.
Well, this is one of my favorites. It's not exactly the one that's in my glass, but all the champagnes that this champagne grower makes are really are my favorite. Because for me, Maurice Chopin, these are the ones who are installed here. I've got more than these. This one, yeah, that's the one that's my favorite. Le Bar Russelet.
So 100% Pinot Noir.
This is 100% Pinot Noir. It's a millésime one. And champagne house is called Maurice Chopin, but now it's the son, Benjamin, who is leading the house. And he is really a visionary. He is making extremely good champagnes, because for me he is the new Jacques Solos. You know who Jacques Solos is? That's the champagne icon for who invented new things of elevating wines. Yeah, because champagne is a wine, and he brings a new light into the making of champagne. He works in a very natural way. He doesn't want to have the bio label. although he works in that way, but he says, my passion is making champagne. I'm not into administration. So I work with my hands, I do everything what's needed to make bio wines, for instance. I don't need a label, I know what I'm doing. All his champagnes are elevated in oak barrels. And this one, the one that you had, we tasted it when it was still in the barrel. This tasted like Chevrey Chambertin. You know that one?
Of course.
So the still wine is really Chevrey Chambertin. I explained perhaps earlier that when I do some prospects, when I taste wines, that I taste them technically. I give points on the vision, on the nose, on the taste. This is the first champagne that my husband gave 20 on 20. I 19, but I'm more critical than he is.
Oh,
so
that's a feminine thing, that is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay then. But okay, that means something. I never gave 19 to champagne. Never ever. So this is my favorite house. And these are now, I'm the only one who imports them in Belgium. That's for a lot of champagnes. Because you see Bulles De Princesse at the end as well. You see? My logo imported by Bulles De Princesse Bruges. So that's a name to remember.
And this, I would suspect Bruges is a very good place to have this business, isn't it? Because you've got here quite a steady, stable, middle class, I would say mostly, population. A lot of tourists as well, of course. It's
yes,
a big
but
tourist
I have to admit, what I've chosen to do is difficult.
to be slightly away.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with it, because if people want to come, they come. Whether you're at the end of the street or that doesn't matter. But Champagne is still known for a lot of people as it's luxurious. It's only for people who have money. But in fact, it's not a fact. Because you have really good champagnes that we go to wine bars ourselves, and when I drink, everybody says, okay, a glass of wine, a good glass of wine from 18 euro per glass. Okay, that's fine. But a glass of champagne, 18 euro, I have champagnes from 13 euro per glass. That's not. If you see what they have to do to make it. But it's difficult. It's inevitable. It's in the mind of people. It still has the aura of it's luxurious, it's expensive.
I was very pleased to see that outside in your yard you have one of the old riddling balls.
Yes, the pupitre.
And I've been around many champagne houses, and they will all have a riddler still on the books who can do this.
Yes.
And who can knock the yeast out, knock the plug out with just the knock of a little knife or something, and it'll go shooting it. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
How
with
much of
it's
champagne is about the tradition?
Excuse me, how much?
With regard to champagne, a lot of people see this as a very, very traditional
Yes.
luxury.
Yes.
But it's a luxury that anybody can enjoy. But how much of the story of champagne, the legend of champagne, how much do you think that impacts on people's choice to drink champagne? Because let's be honest, you can buy some sparkling wines from various parts of the world which are now getting so very, very good, but still champagne will always have the edge over even the very best of, for example,
Yeah, but okay, but there's still a difference between the other sparkling wines as well, because there is so much of regulation in Champagne, and that's the only region that's the only wine region in the world where a lot of rules are employed or that they need to follow. They don't do what they want to do. And that's not the case in other regions, and that makes it so different. And people who, you taste that as well.
A trip to the Champagne region, of course, for anybody who's not been there, is something that anybody who loves wine should do this, shouldn't they? Because you see, we're travelling in vineyards all I've worked in the wine trade, but there's nothing quite like Champagne, is there?
No, although for me the Champagne region is not the most fancy region. You have the vineyards, but apart from the vineyards in the villages, there's nothing to do. But it's just the passion that you feel the passion of those champagne growers, and that's what makes it so interesting. The way they talk about it, it makes you fall in love immediately with the region and with what they're doing.
It's been a great pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure trying to explain a little bit about my passion.
We look forward to seeing you again.
Yes, always welcome. Always be my guest.
Okay.